Hi, it's Jen and Tammy here with the woolly mug mat for December. I love Christmas, Tammy.
No, I know, it's your favorite time of year, isn't it?
And I bet you feel the same way. Again, join the conversation, jump in there. If you love Christmas, I want to hear about it because, you know, we design projects here and we really design them with you in mind.
We do.
We're very heavy in Christmas. We have Christmas in July, which was hugely successful.
That was fun.
And so we love Christmas. Anything you'd want to see us do, leave us a note. It always gives us ideas for the upcoming new year.
Absolutely.
So we couldn't resist Santa, the main man, the big cheese. And for the woolly mug rugs that we did last year, we did 2 candy canes in the kit. These are still available.
They're so cute.
The woolly mug mat, of course, is a bigger project. It makes one. The kit makes one.
Yep.
I love that the applique is here, and you have room for your hot cocoa over on the other side. And I see really sparkly threads. I can't wait. And a really fancy stitch.
I love sparkly thread and fancy stitches. What could be better?
As you know, we started the series back in March, so go back there and go ahead and watch that video. If any of the things that we're doing ahead of time to prepare the piece for Tammy to begin showing us the special embroidery stitches is new to you, go back to that first video. It was a long video where we go into great detail about how to use the fusible webbing, when to use the freezer paper, the light box, the fusible applique sheet. You'll see something a little bit different in the March video. That was a fusible applique sheet. This is called the Fusa mat. It's a little bit more durable and really works beautifully with wool. Of course, with any of the projects, you'll need the download, 2 pages. One is your tracing diagram and the other is for your layout diagram. Home page of the Shabby fabrics at the very bottom. Click on the click on free download. You're looking for the woolly mug mat for December. Again, there's one for every single month.
Yeah, just about. Just 2 left to do.
I can't even believe it.
I know.
I remember sitting down brainstorming about what we were going to do. And now we're almost through it.
We're at the end.
Good night. What's happening? So follow all of those same processes. If you're going to be using the fusible webbing, make sure you're tracing your shapes with the tracing diagram. These are reversed for fusible applique. You'll simply trace the shapes onto the heat and bond light or your favorite fusible product. Roughly cut around that and iron that to the back side of your wool. Cut out precisely. I love to use the Kai scissors. They're so good and clean.
Amazing. Yeah.
If you have a pair of dull scissors, just honestly put them in the junk drawer.
Yeah.
They really kind of have no place in a sewing room.
Give them to your husband for paper.
Yeah. Because you really don't want to be, I have to admit, I've cut these on paper. They still stay sharp.
They still do say, so, I agree.
Anyway,
They're
cut out precisely on the line with really sharp scissors. And that's when we like to use the applique layout diagram, our light box. Of course, that is beneath, that's on top of the light box. This is here. You are bringing in your shapes that you've already cut out. And as you can imagine, with a face and a body, you really want the juxtaposition to be right on the mark.
That's right.
And that's why using this process is helpful. You'll be laying the pieces down in the numbered order that we have. Make sure you do move that to your pressing mat. I have made the very, very blonde mistake of accidentally, for just a moment, ironing and I forgot to move it. So just a reminder, make sure you're shuttling that over to your pressing mat when you're pressing those shapes down. Yeah, I do admit those blonde moments happen.
Just once.
They happen. So once you get everything down to your piece of black wool, which has no fusible webbing, that's when we're using the freezer paper because you don't want that extra resistance.
Yeah, it makes this wool a lot thicker. So we're trying to stitch through it. I don't want to go through a whole layer of fusible if I don't have to.
Right. We feel there's value in using that to get the shapes right to pre-assemble and move. But if we can avoid another layer of fusible, let's avoid that. So that's when we're using the freezer paper to cut out 2 of these ovals. You can just keep reusing this until it fails, and honestly, it has not failed yet in this entire program. one pack of freezer paper is going to last you a very long time.
Yeah.
So Tammy, let me bring some sheets over to you because I know you've picked some stitches for us.
I have. This is fun.
Some of our oldies but goodies.
Yeah.
And then I know, of course, you've got a special something you're going to show us today. And I have a feeling it might be in that.
It's the little wreath for the O.
Okay, so
we
take
made a
it
little
away.
wreath. Okay.
What do we do now?
So after we get all of our applique shapes stitched down, we used a whip stitch using the silky threads, the 12 weight. You could also machine stitch that if you don't want to do that by hand. Okay. We get that done, we're ready to embellish it now. So I love this white Mark Be Gone pen, and you can see I've already done the ho 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 on here.
Okay.
But I'm gonna find the center of my mat, and you know, you could probably just fold it like this, mark the center, just like that.
Very good.
Now I know right where my center is, I know
Okay.
right where my berries are gonna go. Right? So we'll just make a little circle thing there. There's my berries.
Nice.
And now I'm just going to draw my little mistletoe or holly. Holly is what I think we're drawing on here.
That's a nice
That's a
way to
holly
start that. It's kind of
right?
start in the center and work your way out.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you might miss the
Well,
center
you're
point.
going to miss it if you try, especially with your swirls. So when you're doing a swirl, you know, you're just going to start, come around, and back down. If you don't like the way you did that, iron it off and do it again.
Yeah, or a damp cloth,
I
right?
love that. Yes, or a damp
Both
cloth.
ways,
Yeah,
okay.
either way. But so you could just get a little swirl on there, then do the other side the same.
Okay.
Okay? On his face, I did use a friction pen to draw his eyes on there, and I just did a little tiny back stitch on there. There it goes. There's his eyes. He's closing his eyes because he's laughing and saying ho ho ho. I love that. It gives him a little personality, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I love that.
Adorable.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys today. We did a back stitch on our holly with a long straight stitch down the middle of the leaf. And these are just simple French knots and a back stitch. I didn't do anything fancy there. We chose the fancy stitch was the O and ho ho ho. So I'm going to show you how to do a circle buttonhole stitch. This is
I
fun.
have never seen
Never
this.
seen this?
Nope.
Okay,
We are
it's
seeing this together for the first time.
way easier than what you think.
Okay,
I
it's
love
adorable.
that.
I love that. It
Yes.
looks like an ornament.
It does. It looks like a wreath or an ornament. Yeah.
Or like a candy.
Absolutely. A
Sometimes
candy.
candy's green
Yeah.
and red. Okay.
Yeah.
Show us
Okay.
how. I want to
All right.
see this.
Here we go. So to begin this stitch, I have my green dazzled thread, and I'm definitely going to put a little thread magic on this because this thread tends to get a little twisty, a little squirrely. We're just going to give it a little thread magic. I'm going to watch this tail too and make sure that this end doesn't get really fluffy and frayed off. If it does, I cut it because it's going to interfere with when you're pulling through.
Okay.
All right?
Good to know.
Okay. So to start this stitch, I'm going to start on an outside edge right here, right on my line. I'm going to bring my thread up. And now, make our loop the other way here. Thread comes down. I'm going to go down into the center of my O, and I'm just eyeballing that. You can mark it if you want to. And I'm going to come up about 1/8 of an inch. Whoops, let's do that again. There we go. I'm going to come up about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitch that where I came up. All right, but I'm still on my line. My line is always my target in this. And I'm just going to pull this through, and it makes like a little L. You see that little L shape there? So you're going to hold your thread. I'm going to come back down to the center, right? Whoop, I keep pulling my needle out of there. There we go, back down in the center and back out about 1/8 of an inch away. And we're just going to keep going around the circle. We're going to go from the center back out. And I'm just going to keep working this stitch all the way around the circle. Keeping those stitches in line. You got to be the boss of your thread on this one, Jen. You can't let it get away from you on this. You got to be the boss here. So I'm going to be back down in the center. I'm going to come up about 1/8 of an inch again. See how all those stitches are just kind of laying right there in line?
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's so neat.
I love this stitch. They're all connected together. From the center, back out. So they call it a circle buttonhole stitch because it's like the buttonhole stitch that we do around the edge, except we're just working it in a circle, and we're always going back to the center to start that stitch. So it's actually a very simple stitch once you understand how to make this. I love that about embroidery stitches. A lot of times they're much simpler than what we think they are. We can do one more here and come right up to where my other thread was, like that. And to end this stitch, I'm just simply going to go down right behind my first thread. There it is right there. There's my little O.
Cute.
Isn't that cool? Then I would just jump over to the H, and I would just do my back stitch all the way up, across, and around, and then I would tie my thread off and then start over again. I wouldn't chain all of these together. You don't want to keep that much thread going. The more you pull this thread through the wool, this tail, see already? See how big my fluffy tail is now? I would cut that off. I cut that frayed end off because it's going to start bunching up when you're doing a back stitch. You don't want any interference. Okay? And then you just go back and put your little French knots in the middle.
So these are just little French knots.
Little French knots in the red.
And every other one, it looks like.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, it's adorable.
Just put 2 or 3 of them in there. So we get all of our French knots on there, your back stitch, and then we're ready to give it a steam press.
Yep.
Take all of our marks out of it and put it together and use it, or give it as a gift.
Oh, talk about a perfect one to give for a gift.
It'd be a perfect gift. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think so too.
I cannot believe this is the last mug mat for this year.
For this year, I know.
I can't even actually believe I'm saying we will see you for the woolly mug mat for January of 2020.
Next year.
That's
I know.
just unbelievable. But you know what? This is so much fun. Like you said, it's great for gift giving.
It is.
And at Christmas time, if there was ever a time where I've chiseled time out of my schedule to make handmade gifts, it's Christmas time.
That would be it.
It's Christmas time.
That's right.
So
add your fun little gifts that we've got for stitchers. This is an ultimate keeper. This keeps my needles all together. I love this. I have used mine forever. I just absolutely love it. This is a wonderful gift for a stitcher if you have a friend.
Yep, and I know there's 2 different color woods.
Yes, we have a dark one too.
There's a dark one, and this is real wood, and that's brass.
Yes.
And as you saw, those are some long needles in there.
Those are long needles, yeah.
Exactly. So all the needles you're using for this project can easily be stored in there and transported safely. Yeah. Because we all know that we like to be working on this in the car.
That's right.
Commuting.
Anytime I can.
Commuting to wherever we're going by car or train.
That's right.
So we hope you've been enjoying the series. We would love to hear from you, and we will see you unbelievably back for the woolly mug mat for January for the year 2020. We'll see you then.